Hi, welcome to Awake TV. So today Sue and I are going to talk about everything is fine, but waiting for other shoe to drop. So we have noticed, especially people uh, who experience the stuff didn't go well or keep on facing the challenge, or you grew up in the environment that your parents are super negative and then pessimist, and then you kind of inherited that kind of mindset. And you know even after spiritual awakening and going through healing and working on yourself, stuff like that, we do still have this tendency, if we tend to start worrying about something, right? So we are thinking it's a good idea to talk about this because I'm pretty sure a good deal of people are gonna go through this experience. So I share my personal story about this, and then we can share the tips and stuff like that.
Do you want to go ahead and get started, or do you want me to go first?
I can go through.
Okay.
So when I was 18, right, I had my first boyfriend, and he's smart. He's 24. He's smart. Straight A student. Good son. He was like doing everything, like chore for his parents. He already had a job while he goes to graduate school. Kind of guy I look for, he's cute, everything. So I was in a relationship with this guy, and then I shouldn't be worried about anything, right? Like everything is fine. I'm enjoying my school. I should be feeling pretty rosy, right? But I had this fear that somehow he'll leave me. Somehow things gonna go to south. Something outside of the force, come and then destroy everything. And then 3 months later, because I was so worried about it, and then I was telling him everything, how much I worried. That's exactly what happened. He was like, hey, let's be friends. And that behavior was pretty much inherited from my mom, because my mom was always like worrying about everything. When things goes, and then she was saying, because I worry, I avoid the situation, whatever the worst case scenario she thinks about, because she worry ahead. She, according to her, I avoided the situation. But those of us who know spiritual stuff, vibration stuff, when you are vibing in high vibe, everything gonna go well and everything gonna be taken care of. When we are emitting worry and the fear vibration, we are vibrating in that level, so we tend to attract more. Maybe end up avoiding the worst case scenario, but other things will come to you, right? So right now, especially after Lion's Gate, people are closing the big cycle. So I'm pretty sure a lot of you might be going through this Saturn return cycle. Those of you who are up to 32 years old, you're going through this crazy Saturn return experience, and then now close the cycle. So maybe going through something similar, right? And so I wanted to bring up this subject on that, and then how we can truly say goodbye to this, not just a mindset, but habit, like inherited from your parents. Because when I look at my friend who are positive and then coming out of positive parents, and then they don't really worry about it because their motto is everything go well in my life, right?
Yeah.
They don't worry about this kind of thing. But we can really feel sorry for ourselves, like, oh, because I'm like this, because I'm born into this parents or this household or this environment. Then you can change yourself. Just because you're born into that environment, you're going to put up with that environment because you are programmed that way, right? We can change always.
Well, it isn't the environment anymore, right? Once we're adults, it's our own mind which provides the environment because the tapes, like you said, the voices replay in your mind. For me, it was my father was the eternal pessimist, um, or always worried that something could go wrong. And so, like, he's not even alive anymore, but the environment exists in my brain, which says, oh, this could happen, but what about this? But what about this? But what about that? He was the kind of person that would go on a trip and take everything that you could possibly cram in the vehicle or the boat just in case for every scenario you could think of. Because better to be prepared for some kind of failure or problem than to get stuck without what you need. And it took me a long, long time being with my husband to become a minimalist. It's not that I don't prepare for obvious things like, okay, we're going on a hike. I need to bring some water with me, or I might want to add a couple granola bars, and maybe I'll throw a change of clothes in the car just in case it rains or I get muddy or I just if it gets chilly at night. But those are obvious things that you would take with you when you're going on a trip to go on a hike somewhere. Um, in other words, I'm not going to bring my whole tool set and put it in the trunk of my car because what happens if my car breaks down, right?
Yeah.
My dad used to do that. Okay. I mean, at any given time, you would think he was an auto mechanic because in the back of his truck was this huge toolbox and another toolbox plus a bag full of those ratchets, right? And a can of WD-40 and a can of Fix a Flat. And, it just got to be ridiculous where it was like, so that's like Erica said, an energy that when we have a mindset like that of what's going to go wrong, what could go wrong, well, I have to plan for everything that could go wrong. Or some people who are just waiting for something to go wrong, like they believe this can't be as good as it is, something's going to go wrong. That's an energy that we keep ourselves in, right? So no matter where it came from, maybe your parents weren't like that, but you're just a naturally anxious person. Maybe you're super intelligent. And so, your mind, your left brain, is always throwing at you as a survival like, well, what about this? What about this? What about this? Okay. So even if it doesn't come from somebody, it's just an internal state of being, we can shift that. And how we do it is having a conversation. And I really like what you told me earlier, Erica, when your brain does that and you say to yourself, well, that may be true, but I'm open to all possibilities. I really love that piece of advice. That's what Erica was telling me today. And because I was doing it, I was worried about the other shoe falling. And so we had a nice long conversation before we came on with you folks today. And I found it very helpful. Thank you.
Oh, you're welcome. I learned from my friend Max Ryan. He has another YouTube channel. And then, it's a good idea to not to fight with ego. And then, yeah, that might be true. Then your ego shut down, right? It's not going to try to fight because you're not denying. Our left brain not going to fight to argue. And then, but anything is possible because
That's the
then
important
we do
piece.
that, we are open up instead of blocking out the possibility because you think whatever the thing you're thinking about is true, but anything is possible. Then you keep the door open for your guide, your higher self, your angelic team, your galactic team is sending you, and you're not stopping it. You're not self-sabotaging it.
Yeah. I think it's just such a nice, simple technique for dealing with the anxious part of our mind that is waiting for the other shoe to fall. It's brilliant, really, and simplicity. Because as you said, once you can give the left brain what it wants, which is to convince you that, this is true or this is going to happen or something's going to go wrong, once you say, well, that may be true and I'm open to all possibilities. I mean, you just kill two birds with one stone, and it's really big to be open to all the energies, because we have no way, even psychic people, highly psychic people, whatever your ability is, we have no way of knowing exactly how the universe is going to bring us this next cycle of our lives.
Mhm.
We have plans, we have intentions, we move in the direction of what we want, but we don't know how it's going to play out. And, even if we have some idea of what we think might happen, not getting down about it if it doesn't go exactly the way you think doesn't mean the other shoe is dropping. What it means is the universe is bringing it to us in a way which is absolutely divinely perfect for
Yeah,
us.
because we are co-creating with the universe. We are the creator. Well, we are not the creator. We are co-creator. So we
Yeah.
can set the intention. We can just say, oh, this is what I want. I wish this and that. Then how it's bring to you is up to universe, right? Like last 2 weeks, I've been kept on, told by my new guide and my spiritual team that just don't do anything and see everything how it's unfold. Because I usually take an action in advance to make sure I don't, start worrying about practical side of my life. But I also not to do anything.
Mm,
Like, they said, they told me the outcome. They said, see everything how it's unfold.
yeah. Yeah. And I,
So,
I think when we do that, we feel a lot calmer. Um,
mhm.
because I remember my days of just, it wasn't just one element of my life, it was all elements of my life. I was trying to control everything and outcomes in particular. And I just remember feeling powerless sometimes when things didn't go the way that I thought they would go, or angry, scared, a lot of fear. But what that does to our bodies, our human bodies, is it's like an assault. It's like a constant assault on your nervous system, your adrenal system. I'm not a doctor, but I happen to know that these connections exist. And so, when we're assaulting our body with worry and panic and fear, or just a general lack of being able to believe that something could happen for us that's really, really good for us, without something bad turning around and happening afterwards.
Or
Um,
without us keeping control and then making toward that direction.
yeah, exactly. But all of that, I mean, I was so tense all the time. I had issues with my ligaments, my SI joint, which causes nerve pain to go down your back if you're TMJ, the jaw clenching. I actually wore down the surfaces of my teeth because I was clenching all the time. And see, those are just a couple of things that I could mention for worrying about the shoe dropping all the time instead
Mhm.
of just behaving in the way that I would normally behave towards things, my career, my family, my finances, and knowing that things were going to be okay. That constant anxiety is just not the energy you want to be in. And if you can release and find a way to trust, um, your life is going to feel so much better.
Yeah, and then one way of start gaining the trust, I'm pretty sure some of you at the one point of your life lost trust toward your spiritual team. I did once, you know. Um,
Me
so
too.
when that happens, because things your promise didn't happen, for example, that time you wanted, let's put it that way, right? Um, then you lost trust and you are not 100% sure that, let's say, the guidance getting for you, you don't really second think of a guidance you're getting for your client. But when it comes to you, your brain start thinking, oh, that's might be wishful thinking. Like it sounds like your voice, but that's your wishful thinking. Like everything gonna go well, you know. So when you started having that kind of what you call it, less confidence in your own guidance from your team, when you want to regain that trust, you want to regain the relationship, it's more important to let go of everything, surrender, and see how they handle your request. And your request will be handled without you doing anything, you know. And if they want you to tell you, or they want you to do certain things, they tell you you should do this and you should do that, and you follow that direction, and then see what's gonna happen. Like if it's like a life-threatening situation or something financial situation, maybe it's too scared for you to do that. So start doing this let go of control and surrendering action with something less threatening to you. It's not like, you know, start doing something like, let's say, even though I teach love, okay, maybe it's a good idea to listen to when they tell you to surrender and see how it goes in love situation than, let's say, financial situation. Because just because your love doesn't come to tomorrow or 2 weeks or 3 months from now, you're not going to be dying. You're not going to be homeless. You're not going to get sick. You know, I sound so practical, but you can kind of use, I'm using that as an example, but you guys understand my point, right? You use that love situation to see how your spiritual team is going to put everything together, because that's not a life-threatening situation. Yeah, it's painful.
Yeah, start smaller and
Yeah.
work your way up to the bigger things, the bigger
Yeah.
topics. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I like
Yeah.
that. And you know, I just want to point out because some I've heard a number of and read a number of comments where it's like, well, if you have this psychic ability, why don't you give me the lottery numbers or some other thing like that? You know, I just want to mention again that think about what you're asking for, okay? Because I promise you, me, everybody, if we were meant to have a lottery win, we'd have it, okay? So are you asking for something that's in your best interest for your life path? And who, you know, so people would argue with me and say, who doesn't want money, right? Everybody wants money. Um, but I would ask you to consider maybe there's a reason why your soul chose to experience struggle, financial struggle. Some people even poverty. There's a reason why there was an experience there and it was set and agreed upon by your soul before you came into this life. So, you know, getting out of it is kind of what we started talking about is you have to change your mindset about it and stop saying, well, this always happens to me. I'm never going to have money. So your guides probably aren't going to send you a lottery win because that's too much of a divergence between poverty or struggling and having the financial comfort that you want. But once you change your thoughts about it and say, oh, look at this, you know, I made a little more money this week. Or I figured out this product, or I'm offering this other service and now more money is coming into me. But it's the mindset, the poverty mindset that we have to overcome, not necessarily our ability to make money.
Yeah. And then a lot to do with, you know, the difference between people who are, I know a lot of people who are successful and who are wealthy, okay? And then some of them are very positive. I don't know, they became positive by studying personal development, because some of them told me they did study personal development. But, you know, they have a no shadow of doubt everything gonna go well. Of course, after they did everything humanly possible, whatever the business deal, right? After started to go to the direction they want, then they let go.
Yeah.
you
Letting go
know?
is important. But at the beginning of the spectrum, we have to be in the right mind space to allow things to come to us. And believing in, okay, so I did everything I needed to. I researched my business. I started a company and things are going well. I already have 2 clients, for example, but when's the other shoe going to drop? When it's eventually, believing that eventually it's going to go to shit is going to cause it to go to shit. You're manifesting that by having that belief. So you gotta, I have to, Erica has to, you have to, we all have to, if we don't already have the mindset of believing that what we're doing is it's been planned out. We have the expertise, or we have the excellent product. We had the business plan. We're moving ahead with it and believing in it, instead of going, but what all could go wrong? Or what if nobody wants my service or my product, or blah, 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 blah. It's a big shift in thinking. So you can't go just from poverty thinking to having tremendous amounts of abundance. Your guides in the universe are not going to send you a lottery win, but what may happen is, if you change your mind about um, your ability to have money in your life, despite the fact that you've had struggles or poverty, that's what the energy that gets you the intuition. That's when your higher self and your team can start sending you intuition about your own abilities, or like, what are your interests? Or maybe I'd like to go work at this job because I always thought I'd want to do that. Or maybe I'm going to go get training and do this particular type of work now. Whatever it is, because there could be scholarships, especially in um, the trade schools and things like that. Mike Rowe offers scholarships for people that want to learn a trade. So, I think what you got to do is you put in your application and tell them your story, and you may get a full ride to the trade school of your choice. So there's stuff out there like that we don't even think about on a regular basis. There's monies to be had to help you build a business. There's things that you can apply for grants, fellowships, all kinds of stuff. But we got to get out of that poverty mindset. All the reasons why we can't do it, we got to stop focusing on that and turn it around and say, but look, at this is possible. Um, and you're talking to a person. I'm speaking from a place where my grandparents were all first generation immigrants here, and they all worked in shoe factories. Well, one worked in the laundry at the shoe factory, but all 4 of them worked very, very hard, and they were disappointed in what the promise of America was, or what they thought it was. So there was poverty mindset back then. And then, they transferred that to my parents, and that transferred to me. So it's not an easy cycle to break out of. I'm speaking to you from personal experience. I'm not shitting on anybody. I'm not criticizing anybody, but I am telling you that it is absolutely essential to break out of that mindset for you to bring in the abundance in your life, whether that's abundance of love, whether it's money, whether it's, because we can think that we're impoverished in love too, or that we're never going to have a family member who goes the distance for us because we're always the one they're taking advantage of. Well, guess what? I mean, if that's your belief, you're going to keep manifesting that. So abundance doesn't just mean money. It means love. It means relationship. It means joy in life. Being able to go out in nature and just take it all in and bring it into your heart space, because that's God right there. That God's in nature, and it can be seen everywhere. The animals, the water, the plants, the air, the sun. Um, but it does take a shift. If you have a habit of thinking that the other shoe is going to drop when something good happens in your life, you're manifesting it. So you have to stop doing it.
Yeah. So yeah, the thing my friend Max told me about that's a what is very effective. I'm using it, all the time because when you grow up in the environment which is, which tend to be negative, it's impossible for you to completely shift to one way of living means like, oh, everything go well for me. It's always been like that, and the person grew up in that household. So you see the evidence of everything go well. Then you just never ever gonna doubt about that. And you haven't really experienced in that kind of environment. It's really difficult for you to shift one way to another, like overnight. So every day, make an effort to change yourself, because when you set the intention to change yourself, you can and you will.
Yeah. Be
So
clear,
yeah.
be a police officer of your own thoughts, because your
Mm-hmm.
thoughts are created by your beliefs about a thing. So if you start noticing, like Erica said, you got to do it every day. If you start noticing that your dialogue, your inner mental dialogue is got a serious negative thread to it, you got to work on that. That's your job to I suggest shifting the thought, so if it's, well, nothing good ever happens to me, I'll shift that thought to, oh, things are always working out for me. Good things are coming into my life on a regular basis. And just by shifting that one thought, it, as Erica said earlier, it opens up all your energy to receiving from the universe whatever it has to send you. And you can be very pleasantly surprised at just how good that could be. But
Yeah.
it is daily work, and it's your own internal work.
Yeah, and then, I've been telling you guys everything is vibration, but let's say if you're high vibing, like vibrating high, but if you don't know how to control your mind, right? You let the mind like running around like a wild horse, then your mind will disrupt your high vibe. Start talking about what if this doesn't go well. Then even though you're high vibing up to that point, until your mind is starting with suggesting like how everything gonna fuck up or something, right? For some reason, then your vibe will drop.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not saying mindset is everything, but if you don't know how to be a master of your mind can self-sabotage you,
Mm-hmm.
because you got to be the master of your mind and not the other way around.
Absolutely.
Mm-hmm.
And it's not helpful to criticize yourself for having these mindsets or these patterns. I mean, after all,
Yeah.
we have them for a reason. Um, and whatever that reason is, it's valid. We're talking about shifting
Yep.
that, not beating yourself up for it or feeling, regret or guilt or any of that. That's wasted energy as well. And you won't be able to keep your vibration up very high if you're doing that. So don't shit
Mm-hmm.
on yourself.
Or feel sorry for yourself, like, oh, why I didn't born into the family with positivity, right?
Yeah, exactly.
you know, you
Um,
you have
yeah.
your family, so you have to change from you, right?
Yeah, we have to do our own thing. And the minute we become adults in this world, we make our choices. I'd say the minute we leave our family's house and we go out on our own, our choices are still valid while we're in the primary family unit. But like once we're completely on our own, then you can't be blaming anybody in your life for what your new choices are.
Yeah, and then if your family influence is too strong, like we suggested in previous episode, it's really important to start making your own soul family instead of putting too much emphasis on physical family, because family do have influence on putting yourself into your old you.
That's true. Good point.
Mhm.
Yeah. Or you don't have to kick them to the curb, but seriously limit your time with them while you're making these changes for yourself.
Yeah, because
Set boundaries.
let's say everybody else is behaving one way and you are the new person and you worked on yourself and start behaving the other way, and then you don't fit in anymore, right?
Hmm.
So they
Yep.
try to bring you back to their old doctrine.
Hmm. They sure will.
Yeah.
Okay, that's it
Alrighty.
for me. Anything else for you?
No, I don't like. It's just keep on trusting, have faith, and then most of programming is a repeating process because you are repeated whatever the stuff by your parents. So repeat more positive stuff in your head on your own, so you can definitely change your mindset.
Indeed. Every day, do it every day. Catch yourself.
Uh-huh. So thank you so much for watching. So next week, Sue and I are gonna bring more interesting topic. So we see you next time. Bye.
Bye. I am going